Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Cup of Joe with Joe and Joe podcast. I am your host, Joe, and with me, as always, is my wonderful co-host, Joe.
The season finale of Cour 2. Man, it's crazy thinking that now we are 2 Cours under our belt of the BLEACH 1,000-year blood war. And I'm just very thankful for everything that we've gotten so far. This is just kind of unreal.
I'd never thought that we would get this arc, and now we're halfway through it, and that's fucking crazy. I do want to ask you, specifically, Joe, I'm pointing at you, what do you think about Cour 2 finale?
I liked it, but the cutoff point was tough. I had a feeling about this when they announced the trailer. Not for Cour 3, which I'm not sure if you saw, Joe, but the trailer for Cour 3 is out.
I looked for it. I couldn't fucking find it. Damn it.
All right, pause recording. Go watch it right now. Okay, now let me get back into it. So this episode, or collection of episodes, finale, whatever you want to call it, I enjoyed it. The fighting's great. Squad 0 against the Royal Guards. Absolutely love it. I knew they were coming back, but I didn't want to tell you last episode that we talked. But it was all, I loved all that. The hard part with this episode is the fact that this is like the cutoff point and kind of like the big finale, but there's, like, with regards to the source material, the director probably had a very hard time, including Kubo, being like, okay, where are we going to cut this off? Because obviously with Cour 1, Ichigo gets his new Shikai, his 2 new swords, and that's an awesome end to the Cour. While this ending doesn't even feel like an ending. It feels like almost like you're like, oh wait, next episode's going to be the big thing, right? And we didn't really get that, which I'm okay with. I enjoyed the episode, but yeah, the actual like logistics of like this being the cutoff point, a bit weird.
Yeah, that's my biggest complaint with these last 2 episodes. And I don't want to harp on it too long because this is definitely something that won't even matter once the next couple episodes come out, because it's like Cours aren't even technically seasons. This is all just one big arc. But I do want to just address the fact that if the ending of Cour 1 is like straight vodka, this is straight water. There is nothing here that makes me go, holy shit, this is the end of the Cour. I can't wait for the next part. Like, I am saying I can't wait for the next part, but that's number 1 because I'm already invested in the show, so I just want to see the continuation of it. And number 2, it's because like there's no conclusion of anything really. It was just kind of like more cliffhanger. A bit of a weak, weird place to end it. I'm sure when the writers and the directors were there and they're just like, okay, we have this much time to cover this much shit. How are we gonna, oh Christ. Like, I can't even imagine where their minds are at right now. Being like, we know, we understand, please don't send us death threats. Cour 3, it's coming, 2024. We won't give you the month like we did before, but 2024, it's coming.
Yeah, it's especially having the trailer right after this, which it was an interesting trailer because we did get a little bit of like actual anime like animation, but most of it was like this weird CGI like drawn type of stuff and imagery, which there's a lot of imagery in the trailer. But yeah, 2024 is the release date, which I think is good. I think I would like a little bit of more time now between this second Cour and this third one.
Yeah, I agree with that, mostly because I want the animation team to have time to cook. Especially looking back to Cour 1, now with the entirety of Cour 2 under our belts. Cour 2 doesn't look bad by any means. It still looks really good. But there are no heights that reach some of the heights that Cour 1 got to. The Yuha and Yamamoto fight is still the best fight in all of Bleach. Nothing in Cour 2 comes close to that. Certainly nothing previous to that ever comes close to that. Even the fight immediately afterwards between Yuha and Ichigo, that was crazy and insane. And we got about 7 minutes of Ichigo in the entirety of Cour 2, so there's just something about this, especially these last couple of fights. We'll get to some of the actual cool elements that happen in just a second here, but the fights between The Royal Guards and Squad Zero, they didn't really do anything for me. There was only one section of those fights that I actually thought was somewhat intriguing. It's when we get to the cool Bankai that we'll get to in a second. But other than that, they're just kind of like any other fight that you see throughout the series, and especially the Ichibe versus Yuha fight. I don't want to say it was a letdown, but to be honest, nothing like that entire thing. I was just kind of watching, being like, okay, Ichibe keeps talking a big talk here. He's like, oh, you keep saying my name, and for that, you lose your name, or you lose your ability to speak. Whatever this, like, Ichibe keeps getting built up to be this like insanely impressive and amazingly powerful character. And yeah, he's the first Soul Reaper, which I found out in this episode. I don't know if it was established previously. And yeah, he is like the power to erase and create names and do all this insanely cool stuff. And he has Bayonetta smash moves that he can just summon out of the ether. But at the same time, you don't really do enough with him for me to actually feel like he's as powerful as he says. And you certainly don't show it to me in a convincing way. That might be because he's up against Yuha, who canonically is also one of the most powerful people in the entire Bleach universe, but it's not doing enough to convey the insane power between these two characters, except for one instance, which we'll get to, that involves something really fucking cool. But yeah, other than that one instance, I don't know, it's like it's missing something for me. It's missing that thing that's really going to push it over the edge.
I get what you're saying, and I think the two things that I keep in mind is that, one, the fact that they can go toe-to-toe with each other, I think is saying something about their level of power.
Right.
And then also the fact that the fight's not over, as you can imagine. This is like just like the beginning of the fight, and it's weird, again, to have that cutoff between the fight. I will say I love Ichibe. I think he's very cool. I love all his powers, and seeing Yuha in action as well. I really like Yuha as a character, because up until now he's just kind of been like the mastermind, but seeing him in action and kind of like talk some shit, I'm like, this guy's pretty cool.
Yeah, keeping up with that train of thought here, let's just go right into it. This is my favorite moment in all of Cour 2. Nothing else in Cour 2 even comes close to this for me, with how impactful and how cool it is. Yuhaba activates another Ashfallen. That's how I'm pronouncing it. I've decided right now. And it is not only visually spectacular, it is perhaps one of the most visually spectacular scenes in the entirety of Cour 2, but also it's a wonderful character choice. And when I say wonderful, I don't mean like, oh, it's great, everyone is like, no, it's really cool because it shows you exactly what kind of person Yuha is. He is the chess grandmaster. He doesn't give a shit about the pawns or even the bishops or the rooks. He cares about his inner circle, his knights, his queen, and himself. That is it. So he takes all the power from all the rank and file of the Quincy's. And in this amazing scene, you see just Armageddon enter the Seirete for like the 5th time today. And it's just blue lights raining down from the sky. You see Gigi's back with Bambi. That's a disturbing scene. We can talk about that in a second. And
Toto.
That's what it is. I was trying to remember. I was thinking Lidorthy, and I was like, fuck, no, that's the wrong character. It was the dog.
Right.
Latoto. She saves Gigi. Why you would do that? I don't fucking know. Let her die. She's a monster. But you also see a bunch of other characters like Basby and every other Sternritter. They're just like, what the fuck, bro? What are you doing? And I love it. I love it so much because clearly Yuha is a charismatic leader. He's got all these people under him and they all want to fight for him. They all want to fight for his cause. And he just pulls this shit. And he's just like, hey, bro's got to do what bro's got to do, man. And I love Latoto and Basby's reactions. They're just screaming, oh, we're going to fuck you up, dude. I love it. I love it so much. And then he makes it rain blue energy, and all the people who died previously, his royal guard, and even Hoshwell gets back up because he was killed like a single strike this episode, which I was like, there's no way he's dead. It sets up some interesting stuff going forward with some of the Sternritters who are down in the Seirete, because now some of them might not be so loyal to Yuha going forward, because he's revealing his true colors, and they're blue. But also, he's a dick.
I liked how we got to see Gigi a little bit. Sent
Was
Joe a
she
nice
having
little...
sex with the body of Bambi while also sucking the blood out of her?
Yes.
Confirmed.
Oh my god. Yeah, but that was a nice kind of little... We had the complaint of, like, what the hell happened to Gigi? Not good to see she's alive, but interesting to see she's alive. And then that whole scene was great. I loved Auschwitz, all that stuff. That was very, very cool. And the visuals of it look great. And, oh, dude, I really like the powers of the actual Royal Guard. I know we haven't really got into too many of them. Probably the one that we learn about the most is X-Axis. His power is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's interesting. I still feel... I think all their powers are kind of meh. They seem either totally tailored to be like, oh, this is why I didn't die, like knockoff Eisenman, where he's just like, yeah, my power is I can adjust lethality of things. I don't have the brain capacity to recite verbatim what exactly it is. He even makes a comment being like, yeah, most people don't understand it. I didn't even understand it when I was first told about it. And I'm just like, these powers are a little ridiculous, which all the powers are, but that one especially was just kind of like, you just wrote this to get this scene, and it's a little weird. But I still have the problem of the Royal Guard and Squad Zero just keep trading deaths and revivals. It's like one squad dies, and then they're reborn, and then they're powerful, and they have new powers, and then they kill the other squad, and that other squad dies, and then they come back, and then they're more powerful because they reveal their other shit, and they kill the other people. And I'm just like, stakes don't exist anymore in this battle to me. I'm just like, they're just gonna die, and then come back, and then beat the shit out of the other side, and then it's just going to keep trading back and forth. Like, I'm at the point now where once one side fully wins, I still don't know if I'll believe it, because I'll just be expecting them to revive and come back again.
I think the big thing to keep in mind, almost what I was saying with Yuha and Ichibei, is that this is just like almost like unheard of territory. And it's, yeah, I completely get what you're saying. It is a little predictable with that. I still enjoy watching it, and I think the back and forth is nice, and I like I enjoyed everything in this episode for the most part, and I really did enjoy the combination Bankai, which I thought was awesome, and I knew nothing about. I don't think this is anime original. I'm assuming this is from the manga, but I had no clue about this, and it looks awesome.
Yeah, it does look very cool. I'm curious, what is her Zanpakuto? Is it the needle, you think?
I believe so.
Okay, because that's a nice detail if it is. But yeah, her Bankai, very cool. Visually, it's great. What the actual power is, I have no idea. It just seems to be an illusionary type of thing that also has a bunch of other powers thrown into a blender. The thing that I like the most about this Bankai reveal, though, it has two major things that are really cool. Number one, none of the Squad Zero people can unveil their Bankai or release their Bankai without breaking a blood seal. So, like, the other three have to, I don't know if they fully kill themselves or just, like, cut themselves, whatever it is. They have to do that in order to allow the one to activate their Bankai. That's dope, because it's so powerful. Number two, because it's so powerful, its presence can be felt when it's activated by everyone in the Seirete and even people in the world of the living. Ichigo's dad feels it. Uryu's dad feels it. That's a great way of conveying how powerful shit is. It's like, you don't use words. You just be like, we have to do this ritual to summon it. It's really strong. And then everyone else reacts to it who aren't even in the same plane of existence. That's cool. I like that a lot.
One thing that I want to talk about to kind of jump to a different topic is, one, we get introduced to Yoruichi's little sister.
Yep.
And I knew about this character. You probably had no clue what was going on.
I had absolutely no idea. The first thing that came to my mind was just, we're still introducing more characters. Just fucking focus on the characters we have. What the fuck? What? We're so close to the end. What are you doing?
Yeah, so she's like the second heir to the Shihoin clan, and she gets a lot more, maybe not development, but she shows up a lot more later on, which you can imagine. And then I thought a really good moment that I liked, Hiyori and the Visor show up. She's kind of like, hey, didn't we have a plan to do this, this, and this? And Kisuke's like, yeah, well, things change or whatever. It's for the sake of the Seirei. And she's like, yeah, you keep saying that. And I was like, oof, that was pretty cool. I like seeing them and that setup. But that was very cool. And then, oh my god, we get to see my guy Ukitake and Shunsui talk to each other. I love these two boys together. I love them so much.
They're great together. Ukitake, I have no idea where he's been this entire time. Training or healing or doing whatever. Because now he has something called the Kamikake? Yeah, I'm just going to stick with the first pronunciation. It's the Kamikake. And it's like this weird, shadowy thing. It reminds me a lot of what the Vonderreich used to transport between their different realms. But this one's got like an eyeball in it. So, I don't know what that's about, but eyes are pretty important in the series right now, so that's got to mean something.
Loved that. And again, another little breadcrumb for something later on. And that's pretty much all we get for other characters that aren't up in the Soul Palace. We do, I believe, get a quick flash to Ichigo and the gang when the Bankai is activated. I think that's another group that kind of feels the power. Am I right?
Yep. We get exactly 2 reaction shots at them. We get one when the Bankai is activated, and we get one after the Auswahlen rain starts falling, because both, it's like the spiritual pressure coming down. It's affecting their dildo rocket flying through the sky. And they're like, oh, what the fuck is that? No one utters a word. They're on screen for like 4 seconds maximum combined with both scenes. That's it.
So that leaves me with, Joe, 3 things that I want to talk about, because there's still some things I want to hit upon. Some of the information that we get in the powers with the Yuha Ichibei fight, as well as I actually was kind of upset with like the last 5 minutes of the finale, what they did with Khan. And then also I want to talk about the season 3 trailer.
Right. Okay, let's go exactly in order of those then. What was the first thing you said?
Ichibei Yuha fight and just kind of the powers revealed.
They're cool. I think they could have been visualized way cooler.
They're very esoteric, if I'm using the word properly. There's a lot of like almost like philosophy principles going on, which I like. I think it's cool. It's a very unique take. I understand what you're saying about the visuals. It is interesting, Ichibei's brush and how he uses black as his power. Also, we get to see Ichibei go white for like a couple of frames. I know, I was gonna say that. I was like, whoa, I didn't know Santa was in here. But I like their relationship to each other, because obviously they've known each other from the flashback that we saw, I think, last episode or 2 episodes ago. And this relationship of like, boy, you need to understand who you're messing with and know your place. The drawing of the line being like, you're not going to make it past here. I love seeing Yuha's powers. I love seeing some of the Kido, the dragon Kido that Ichibei does.
Yes.
Honestly, I really, really enjoyed it. I think it was pretty interesting. I think the big thing with what we're used to is we're so used to the true, like, here's my Bankai, here's my Shikai, here's my Bankai, and almost that level up. But I did like this little back and forth of adding in some of these other techniques, as well as seeing Yuha's Quincy techniques. I liked how Ichibei's like, well, I guess you could call this a Bankai, even though when I created this was before the term Bankai even existed. And it looks like Yuha gets sealed in paint, ink, whatever it is, and then starts falling back down to the Seirei. Obviously, we can assume that's not going to be enough to knock him out, but it was a nice little, like, hey, don't mess with me. I am going to give you a good fight. I'm just interested to see what Yuha has up his sleeve.
Yeah, because clearly he's not done here. Obviously, like, we still have 2 cores to go here, and also the 3rd trailer has him in it. That makes sense. I do agree with you on Ichibe's powers. Like, it's interesting to see Ichibe have such different abilities compared to most other Soul Reapers. Because most Soul Reapers, like, you know, Yamamoto, lots of fire, but he still swings a sword and fucks you up. Ichigo swings a sword, fucks you up. Rukia, an ice nuke, but still has a sword that can fuck you up. That's like, it's all combat power stuff. Ichibe is much more ethereal. It's concepts. It's similar to the other Sterner, the imagination boy that Kenpachi ends up fighting. And because of that, their fight consists of a lot of exposition where they have to explain to each other, this is my power, this is what it does. That way the other person can then counter that with their ability, that they'll say, oh, I can counter your ability because my ability is this, and this is what it does. And I understand this is most of what Bleach is and has been. But it is still incredibly tiring having to go through all of this. I just feel like there should be a way that you can convey this information without two characters just stopping and talking to each other. Like, even when Yuha is activating his Auswahlen, he's just sitting there reciting a poem for like 60 seconds, and Ichibe is just standing there letting him. Like, bro, I know you're pretty cocky, but it might be in your best interest to, I don't know, spike this motherfucker in the head while he's trying to power up his next move. You know? Like, it's just these, like, things that build up in, like, all these fights that I'm just kind of like, it's not convincing that this is what would actually happen.
Yeah, I get that. But at the same time, we got a guy fighting with a paintbrush, so I don't really know.
Exactly. So, you know, all these points, varying levels of how much you give a shit, but to me, I would find it much more compelling if it doesn't feel dire enough, might be the thing that I'm trying to get at. Because you are trying to protect, like, the Soul King is your upper echelon. Like, that is the top dog. That is what the three worlds, like, rest upon. He is the foundation of them. This guy is trying to fuck all that up. And it doesn't feel like we're at the end game sort of situation here. Like, it felt more like it was the end game stuff even when we were in, like, Hueco Mundo, like the second half of that shit, and there was like 50 episodes of that with just the latter half of Hueco Mundo, as opposed to like this, which is gonna be like 50 episodes total. So I need, or I would like to feel more urgency, more intensity when it comes to all these fights between characters, because right now it just feels like more fights, and that's kind of it right now.
Moving on to Con. I saw there was like 5 minutes left after credits. I was like, sick. And then it was Con. For me, I was like, whoa, that was 5 minutes we could have used for so many other things.
So many other things is so right, Joe. I was like you. The episode ended after, you know, Ichibe took his controller, hit the fucking C-stick down to get the foot coming down so he could spike Yuhaba off stage. And then it just cuts to the fucking end credit song. And I was like, what the hell? I was like, that was so fast. And I checked and it was like 18 minutes in. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, so we still have an end credit scene. And I did the little skip. And then I see it was Cone. And I was like, I wonder how long this bit goes on for. And I just panned along the timeline to just see the thumbnail of it as I was going through. And it was the entire thing. And I was like, surely not. And I sat there for the first 2 or 3 minutes to see if it like would evolve into anything like more substantial, and it was just the comedy bit with Cone. I cannot express my disappointment.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a, because I feel like if we're talking about this as 25, 26, 25 really liked. Like, I was like, I gotta hop in 26 and see what happens. And then 26 was like, oh, this was kind of like a, it felt, I don't know what the proper term to use, but I was like, okay, this kind of milked us a little bit. But whatever, again, maybe I just misunderstand why that's there. I will say, though, the Cour 3 trailer dropping right away, very much appreciate. And there's a lot of visuals going on. I don't want to talk about too much of it. I like the 2024 release date, as we said. Is there any comments you want to say about the trailer?
Very little animation, like you said before, of like the actual show. We get a lot of the computer generated graphics of different weapons. We see Ichigo's new swords. We see presumably Uryu's Quincy bow and arrow. Couple of other things. There are some images of Yuha that I've seen in the trailer and out of the trailer. I know he gets a new look, is a way to put it. I don't want to go into it too much because I don't want you to be like, so I'm just going to hold off for now. But I do see he gets some more eyes in more ways than one. And again, eyes are a very important motif going on in this arc here. So
there's a chair in the trailer as well.
Yes. What that is, I'm not sure. I imagine it's a throne of some kind, perhaps.
That's great.
Yeah.
That makes me so happy. We're going to move on, and I'm not even going to let you think about it.
Okay, perfect.
I will say, though, overall, I really enjoyed Cour 2. This was the big fight section, a lot of different fights, a lot of new characters. Highlights for me, the Rukia Bankai. Everything about that was phenomenal. I think I do enjoy Cour 1 a little more. Not that Cour 2 is bad at all. Cour 2 was great. And when this is all done and I get to go back and watch this all together, I'm going to love it. It's going to be great. I think it was a little tough with some of the pacing and everything like that, but that's okay. I'm excited for Cour 3, and yeah, would like to know your kind of final sum up, maybe favorite moment, and how you feel compared to Cour 1.
Yeah, so I definitely, if it wasn't evident enough, did not love this as much as I loved Cour 1. Cour 1 is just a perfect cover in amber, fossilize it. It's just like this right here is peak Bleach to me. This is great.
Like, you sell that as a DVD, and you don't need to watch, like, you can just watch that on its own, just looped.
Cour 1 is fantastic. I love it. I'd give it like a really high 8 out of 10. Cour 2 is sitting more at like a 6 out of 10 for me right now. It's like, it's not bad. Everyone, like, I say this, 5 is neutral, and then everything above is good, and then everything below is bad. So it's like 6 is still good. It's just not, it doesn't like push into like great tier. It's got some really great art style, awesome lighting, cool fights, some that don't really do what I want them to do, don't really fill up to their potential, but still, it's solid. It does leave me excited for Cour 3, and I do want them to take their time with it, because again, we got a few shots of this Cour back when, Cour 2 trailer came out, and I remember everyone being like, holy shit, it still looks great. Let's go, everyone. Oh, yeah. More Bleach. Come on. And so the fact that we get another trailer, and it could be they're not showing much animation because they don't want to spoil anything coming forward. But I'm more so thinking they still need time to develop it, which would also track with the fact that they haven't given us a season that it's going to release in 2024 yet. So I'm anticipating we've got about a year to wait before we get this next Cour. And that's fine. I've waited 10 years. I can wait one more year. Take your time. Make it nice. Make it spicy. I can handle it. And also, like, get some rest. You look tired.
Yeah. I would love a fall release for this. I'm going to like this little break. It's going to be fun kind of breaking this all down. And it's been fun talking about Bleach, man. It's been pretty crazy. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next Cour, and this was fun.
Life's fast. Eat Orihime's ass. Everyone, always remember, we're just a pair of Bleach sluts. We love this show, and we hope you do too. So, with all that being said, always remember, we'll love you, we'll leave you, and see ya in the third Cour of Bleach. That's your Blood War, baby! Woo! Mwah!